Cabbage Juice kids, welcome back to our science class, and it's science in the kitchen, as we know, so it's all the kind of stuff that you guys can do in your own kitchens, which is super duper fun. So we've got some household ingredients. We wrote that there's some things you gotta bring that'll make everything work, and then you can pick and choose with the rest. So very important, you wanna have some purple cabbage, some people call it red cabbage, okay? You need some of that today. You're also gonna need some hot water. Okay, that's gonna help us activate and get us started. Now, to make things more fun, we're gonna be using clear cups. Now, if you don't have clear cups, that's all right. You can use any cup and you'll be able to see the color. Clear cups are really fun because you can see the colors from outside, and everything colorful makes things more fun. Now, another thing you're gonna want is something to keep the liquid in. So I just took a pan, foil pan. You could take anything, any bowl, any size, and we'll get started. Now, so let's make sure you have assembled red or purple cabbage, hot water, clear cups if you can find, and some kind of bowl to keep it in. Now, here's the fun things you can get together in addition if you didn't yet. I put together some lemon juice, a tomato, some vinegar, I even took some toilet cleaner, some ketchup, some bicarb or baking soda, whatever you call it, Windex, that's for cleaning windows, and another really fun thing is a straw. If you've got a straw, it'll work faster, it's just fun to watch, but if you don't have one, that's totally all right. Now let me just say one really important thing. Last time we spoke a little bit about safety. Science safety is so important because when you mix things together, even if it's household kitchen stuff or things you might find in your cleaning cupboard, it can actually get really unsafe because a lot of the stuff that even you eat has very strong properties, which is exactly what we're going to be exploring today. So that's why you always have to make sure you have protective gear if you're going to be using something that's really strong. Protective gear sometimes is eye protection. You might be wearing gloves. Gloves are always a really good idea, but a very important feature is that if you're going to be using household cleaning supplies today with this fun experiment, so for example, I chose two. I pulled out Windex and a toilet cleaner, which was never used before, so it's can sit on my kitchen counter, but it's got some bleach in it. These are things that are really important not to use without an adult around. And the reason is because sometimes these properties inside, aside from the fact that they're really designed not to be used by kids, but even if you're a big kid doing this today, you want to be careful if you're going to be mixing things together like I will. You don't mix really dangerous things that shouldn't be mixed, like these kind of chemicals together, okay? So that's a reminder about those things. You can have as much fun just using the kitchen stuff. Okay, you guys ready? We're gonna have fun today. Grab your red or purple cabbage, and I want you to peel off some leaves. I'm just gonna rip them off. You don't need to have a knife. You can literally rip them off with your hands. And it might make your fingers a little bit purple, but that's all right. Now, what I love about science is the amazing world that Hashem created. It is the coolest thing. Everything is so awesomely cool. And it's so cool that there's stuff around that you interact with every day and you don't even know how cool they are. Like seriously, like cabbage. So what I'm going to show you today is that red cabbage actually doesn't just serve as a great, crunchy, yummy vegetable that you make a very pretty adama on, but actually it can serve as a chemical indicator. An indicator is something that shows us a sign. Like in your car, if you're going to be turning to the right or turning towards the left, you're going to turn on your blinker, your parents will turn on their blinker, and that's going to be an indication. That flashing light is an indicator for the people behind you. It gives you a message. So this is also going to give us a message. I'll show you how. It's going to be an indicator that tells us something about the properties of the foods that you eat in your kitchen today. You ready? Here we go. Okay, so what we're exploring is the chemical makeup of a lot of these foods on a scale, and these words might be new to you, from an acid or a base. So we're basically going to compare acids and bases. You may have heard the term acid before. I asked my kids before, did you remember me ever hearing me use the term acid? And my son said, yes, I remember when my lip was burning when I was drinking lemonade or lemon juice, and you said, that's because the acid's burning, right? Or sometimes if you're cutting lemons or juicing something, and your hand has a little cut inside and you start feeling it, that's the acid burning inside. And my kids remembered hearing that word, acid. But there's actually acids even inside you. There's acids deep inside your stomach, and it's actually a really strong acid. That acid is used to break down the food that comes into your stomach, okay? So acids in general, acids that you would drink, so let's say, for example, if we said lemon is acidy or acidic, that would have a bit of a sour taste, right? Lemons are pretty sour. Now, some other things are not as sour, but they're still an acid, because some acids are super strong, and some acids are a little bit less strong. We can call them a weaker acid. So we're going to move from super strong acids, and as we move up the scale of a little bit less strong acids, we're going to give them numbers, okay? So a super strong acid, like the acid in your stomach, might get a number 1. Super, super strong. A less strong acid, like, let's take an acid like milk can be a little bit acidic, but not really so. That would be all the way up to number 6, okay? So a much less acidy. Now, when we get to number 7, that's where we stop. It's not acidy anymore. It's called neutral. That's like nothing. It's kind of like when something doesn't taste bitter and it doesn't taste sweet, it's just right in the middle. That is called neutral. Now, after we get to that number 7, we're going to start 8, 9, 10, 11, all the way till 14. From number 8 all the way to number 14 is what's called a base. Now, a base, unlike an acid, which is a little bit sour, a base is actually a bit bitter. So some bases that you have in your kitchen might be things like baking soda. Some of them might be in your kitchen, a lot more in your cleaning supplies closet. That's the truth, bases. It might be something like baking soda, okay, or bicarb. And bases would have more like a slippery feel. A lot of the soaps that you use would have more of a base inside. And a base is pretty much almost like the other end of the spectrum compared to an acid. So we're going to be moving from number 1 all the way to number 14, and it has to do with what happens with our ions. You don't really have to understand all the science behind it, but the 2 words I want you guys to remember, okay, is that we're exploring acids and bases. And you guys are going to help me discover what's an acid and what's a base. So let's get started. I, so far, have ripped up or broken up my purple cabbage. And what I'm going to be doing next is taking the hot water. Now, the hot water, again, should be handled with an adult. Okay, and I'm going to cover the purple cabbage in my pan. And the reason I'm going to cover the purple cabbage in my pan is because I'm going to soak it up a little bit and soak it enough till the water that started out totally clear ends up turning a nice deep shade of purple, or maybe a little bit blue. I could already see some of the water starting to turn blue. It's going to be like making cabbage juice. You want to really have fun, you can like blend it in a blender. But this is a lot less messy than getting your blender dirty, and it's a lot more fun. So I can already start smelling it. It smells like I'm cooking cabbage in my kitchen today. So I'm kind of cooking cabbage in my kitchen. You're kind of cooking cabbage in your kitchens. If you pour the hot water all over the purple cabbage in your bowl or in your pan. Now the next thing we're going to do, once we've got our water turning kind of blue and purple, I might put it aside for a minute or 2 to steep. That means just to sit and kind of get that color even darker. But I already like the color it's showing. I'm going to show you guys. You'll see it in my clear cup. So I'll pour some off and you'll be able to see the color. Okay, so this used to be clear and now it's getting into a nice shade of blue. This is kind of like a light blue. But I'm going to leave it for a few more minutes. And you can even break up some of the pieces of cabbage inside or rip them up if they're not too hot, and get some more color going on in there. And now I'm going to tell you guys about indicators. So we're looking for something that tells us what's an acid and what's a base. Those 2 things. So far we know that I told you that lemon juice is an acid. So really, how do scientists know if something's an acid or a base? And what do they really need to know? So I don't know much about the scientist part. I'll start with people who live in houses like me. We're not quite scientists, but we like to know things around us, right? So one of your parents may have once wanted to check if the soil in your garden has a lot of acid in it, because that'll impact how you plant your garden. So this might be something that they bought. I'll bring it up closer so you guys can see. It's called pH paper, okay? And pH paper, you can see, has a color scale. It goes from the number 1 all the way to number 7. All the colors that would be tested and match 1 to 7 would be an acid. But if I test colors, this is a little covered by a sticker, and they're dark and they match numbers 8 to 14, that would be a base. So if we were going to have some fun today, I'm going to take one of my pH papers. They come with a couple of colors already on them. And I'm going to take something that we all already know, we Chabad youth, intelligent children, already know as an acid, our lemon juice. And I'm going to take our lemon juice, take one of my pH papers, and stick it right inside, not even for long. Okay? Done. That was like a few seconds. Now, I'm going to take another pH paper to show you guys what it looked like originally. And now we're going to compare the old paper before it got tested. So this is what all the pH papers look like before they get tested. I'll leave that on the side. And now I've took my paper that tested the lemon juice, and let's compare what color it looks like. It's no longer blue like my original. Now it's a lot closer to number 2. Do you see that? Because this is a super strong acid. So lemon juice is a super strong acid. Are you guys ready to have fun with your purple cabbage? Let's go. So I've got my lemon juice already, and I'm going to take my purple cabbage juice, pour a little bit into a cup. How gorgeous is that color? I kindly gave myself some purple cabbage also in the process. Really, it's better to strain it. You won't end up getting purple cabbage landing in your cup, but no biggie if you do. So purple cabbage juice, and just like my fancy schmancy pH paper test indicators that I can test the different materials and see if it's an acid or a base, you can do the same thing, you cool people, with your purple cabbage acid-base indicators. So let's get started with testing our lemon juice. So we've got a little piece of purple cabbage that wants to be tested. Okay, so I've got 2 cups. The reason I poured 2, and you guys should also pour 2, is because you want to keep one that you can always compare to. It's way more fun. Then you see how the color's changing so drastically. Okay, so let's get started. 2 cups of my purple cabbage juice already poured. This purple cabbage juice starts off in this color. This is like that base right in the middle. We're going to call it neutral. Not an acid, not a base. If you remember the numbers I was telling you, it would probably be something like a number 7. Okay, which means if I stuck in one of those pH papers, nothing would change. Now, get your acid ready. So take your lemon juice or your whole lemon. You can cut a lemon in half and squeeze some, or the lemon juice like I took here, and let's pour some into our purple cabbage and see what happens. Just like that, in an instant. Magic juice. Can you see? Do they look different? I think so. We've just made straight up test here showing that there is a very clear presence of an acid in lemon juice, which is why my purple cabbage water turned a bright, beautiful shade of pink. Now I'm going to show you something really cool. You guys remember last week when we spoke about carbon dioxide and all the cool things we can do with carbon dioxide? One of the things I told you guys is that you actually have carbon dioxide in you, and you let it out of your body every time you breathe out, right? Carbon dioxide comes out of your body every time you exhale. We spoke about how it's not dangerous at all. It's in soda water and lots of other things like that. So I want to show you guys that the carbon dioxide inside you, okay, so that means inside your own bodies, actually has the ability to make our purple cabbage water a little bit more of an acid. So how am I going to get my carbon dioxide into my purple cabbage water? So that's what we're going to use a straw today. If you don't have a straw, you can do this blowing, but it works a lot faster with a straw. You guys ready? I've got my 2 cups, both neutral, so we can always compare to the original color. Hang in there while I do this. This might take a few minutes, and if you don't have a straw, that's okay. You can start blowing, but then it'll take you a lot longer. Let's go. I'm not going to make bracha because I'm not drinking this. Can you already see the colors getting a little bit lighter? It's hard to see. We'll keep blowing. Come up for air from time to time. Okay, I'm going to stop for a second just to show you guys a comparison, okay? I don't know if you can see, it's kind of hard to see over a camera, but it's definitely getting lighter. And I haven't added anything into this aside from my own breath. That was a long one. Let's try another long one. And then come up for air. Now compare. Can you see? This one's a lot more purple and this one's coming closer and closer to pink. Now, I'm not quite producing an acid like lemon juice for my breath, but compare it to the purple and you can definitely see that I'm inserting some acid into here. I'll do it for one more minute, then we're going to move on to our next thing that we're testing. The last blow. That was a pretty long one. Okay, guys, so we're going to take a pause on that one, but I will bring it closer so you guys can see. This is my original, and this is the pink color that was produced by me blowing carbon dioxide into my purple cabbage indicator juice. Do you see the difference? Purple and pink, okay? Let's keep going to the next supply. So we got a really strong acid that we tested. That's the lemon juice. If you got a Sharpie and you're forgetting what you tested, you can write it on the cup, okay? Now let's try a really strong base. Now the strongest base that I can think of is actually a household cleaner that has bleach. So I found one that I have that has bleach in it, but again, this is something that only parents should help you do, okay? So I'm gonna do a little bit of a squeeze of bleach into the cup. And if you guys want to start with a lighter base and not such a strong one, if you don't have a parent nearby, you guys can start testing your baking soda already. I think I'm going to take something to help me stir. I'll grab a plastic knife because I don't want to stick my finger in the bleach. And I'm going to pour some of my cabbage water into my bleach. And voila! In a second, without even stirring, no need to stir it. Did you see the instant change? Okay, instant change. I'm going to stir it and it's probably going to get even brighter in color. Okay, this is a really strong base. So I'm going to put my really strong base all the way down on the other side. So we've got a really strong acid that we tested, a really strong base that we tested, and our purple cabbage juice right in the middle. This is me, my carbon dioxide test. I'll put this one a little bit in between the two, but definitely closer to my neutral than to the acid. What should we test next, guys? Yell really loud, but I still can't hear you. So instead of yelling any louder, I'll just choose the next one, and you guys can either choose the same or move on to another one, okay? So now for this one, we'll try tomato. Now, do you think a tomato is more sour or more bitter? If it's more sour, it might be more of an acid. More bitter would be more of a base. What do you think? It's a bit acidy. It's a bit acidic. So a tomato is very likely to test to be closer to this side of town than the base side. We'll start off with a pH paper. I'll stick one of these inside my tomato. Let's see what happens. Yep. In a second, I can see that the paper went from being blue at the very top to being much closer to a brown. And that's the similar thing to what happened, this is almost the same as what happened with my last acid that I tested, my lemon juice. So, you guys ready? Let's use some of your purple cabbage juice. You can squeeze your tomato, which is exactly what I'm doing, into my cup. Make some nice tomato juice. And what's fun, aside for the bleach, most of the stuff that we're working with are completely edible, but it's a bit gross, but if you like it, go for it and you can definitely taste it. Okay, I'll move the cups out of the way so you got, or I'll do it right in front. Tomato, we're guessing it's acid. We're guessing it's on that scale from number 1 to number 6, but let's just confirm with our color confirmation. And what do you guys think? What do you make of that color? Not very close to purple, and definitely not very close to green. I'd say it's a pretty nice shade of pink. Now, maybe I'll get another stir. Get a couple so we can stir a lot of our things. But that color is actually really pretty. And even though some of the tomato is sitting at the bottom, you can pretty clearly see that nice shade of pink. So this definitely gets put on our acid line. Oh yeah, look at what this shade is looking like. Okay, you guys ready for the next? Now let's try to score something that is a very strong smell or taste. So let's see what I've got left up here. I've got ketchup. That's pretty similar to the tomatoes, so we'll put that aside for now. Lemon juice, done. We've got vinegar, baking soda, and Windex left. Should we do that in that order? Let's go for it. Okay, you know what, let's try the baking soda, because that's a nice, not very dangerous handling one. I'm gonna put some purple cabbage indicator juice into my cup. Nice shade of purple, matches my middle one perfectly. You guys ready to watch color transformations? Take your baking soda box and give it a nice shake. And instant, did you see that? Oh yeah, instant blue. We just got ourselves a brand new shade of blue. I'll stir that as well just to dissolve it. How cool is Hashem's world? Do you see? Amazing? Okay, so this is going to be testing as a base. No shades of pink going on there. So let's put this down between, not quite all the way out where our bleach goes, that shade of green, but I'm going to bring it definitely on the baseline. Okay, that's moving from number 8 to number 14. We ready for another one? Vinegar? Let's try the vinegar. I'm gonna once again do it in front, pour some purple cabbage water inside. Looking really nice. Guys, watch closely. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna pour it straight inside. And by now you have to tell me, what is this? An acid or a base? It's an acid. And it's pretty similar in color to a very strong acid. Which strong acid? Do you guys remember what this was? Lemon juice. We're gonna put them, they're almost like twins, okay? We're gonna put them all the way down here, the very strong acid side. And we're gonna put our vinegar aside and move on to the next, okay? Windex. Windex has inside of it, Windex is great for cleaning windows. And it has inside of it a really strong chemical called ammonia. So if you have a parent around, you can test ammonia straight up. If you have pure ammonia, I didn't have any pure ammonia, so I took Windex, which is a percentage of ammonia, and I don't know what percent, but this bottle ain't telling me. But anyway, it's definitely got ammonia inside. So, yeah, no indication there of its percentage. Guys are ready? Purple cabbage juice, you're already amazing scientist testers. You can probably even do this without me. But please don't do this without an adult in your house. Okay? We have got our Windex. So now in this case, I'm using a spray bottle, so I'm actually going to spray straight into it. Because it's really dangerous to combine Windex near bleach, I'm going to move the bleach away. Even though it's a cool thing to watch the color, not so healthy, move that away. And I'm going to take my Windex, spray it into the cup, and watch what happens. I'll spray one more time, or even 2 more times, and you can already see the color starting to mix. There's a soapy mix going on there, but oh yes. Can you see what's happened in an instant? What that Windex did. Now, do you think this is an acid or a base based on our color line? I think it's definitely going somewhere up close, if not identical twinning to what's going on here. So we've definitely got some really strong bases. And then, of course, keeping it away, but our absolutely strongest base, which was bleach. And we just made an amazing, amazing rainbow of sorts of all different types of things that you found in your house. With purple cabbage as the indicator, we tested going from a beautiful bright pink, heading into like reddish range, lighter purple, our base, which was neutral, all acids until the base, and then headed into the blues and even green for our bases. Okay? How cool! Round of applause if you got that going well, because I'm very impressed. Now, with these sheets, the pH sheets, you can just buy these at a regular pharmacy. They're really fun because you can test anything and you don't have to create or cook concoctions. You can just stick it inside. Sometimes you can mix up a concoction and then retest it, etc. But these papers are called pH papers, and they're universal indicators. So you can ask for pH paper or litmus paper. Sometimes it'll come in red or in blue, and that tests, it changes if it's an acid or if it's a base. So those are super fun to work with. But if you can't get a hold of pH papers, stun your friends and the world around you by trying out all different colors with your very own at-home test of purple cabbage indicator. I think we've got just a little bit of liquid left. We're gonna have to try at least one more thing because we can't possibly waste it. I think we've even got enough for 2 more cups. Okay, if by now you guys have run out of things to test, if you raid your fridge, I am confident you'll come up with some more. Good work there. We just about used up all of our purple cabbage. So I'm thinking, how about testing something that your parents might drink every day? How about coffee? Should we try testing coffee? Let's try that. So here I've got some coffee, and I'm going to add that to a cup, which I'm going to dissolve with some of the leftover hot water that I've got. It's pretty concentrated, so it's pretty dark. I'm going to add just a little bit of it to my neutral cup. You guys ready? Let's check out what happens. Well, first of all, it's very dark and it's very concentrated, so it's very brown. But there's a little bit of a shade of red or pink there. You can see it. I have some lemon juice on that one, so I'm going to try to mix it here. But actually, okay, so it's hard to see in the color scheme because I put in way too much. I wonder if I put just a few granules in one, if it would work without dissolving it better. Could be. I'm going to try doing that because you can't really see it very well. Yeah, way better. Okay, skip the whole dissolving part because it makes it way too dark and then you can't see anything. But if you take some coffee and dissolve it, you'll see it sits right up here, just about there, okay? Next to your tomato, it is an acid. Coffee is acidic, okay? So we'll put that down right there. And we still have one more cup. Unless, I think I just used our last cup because of my 2 brown coffee purple juice. So let's see if I can get some more out of here. We can test one last thing for our grand finale. Yes. Purple cabbage juice, you've done your job very well. Okay, Just thinking of what else we can test that's not too strong, not too weak, and not too dangerous, but just plain fun. How about, well, regular water, you can probably assume what it would be. How about I raid my fridge and find something in there to test? How about milk? Should we test milk today? That'll be our last and final. Again, I'm not going to use all that much because if I use too much, it's going to cloud the whole thing over. But milk, you guys can start guessing. Do you think milk's going to be an acid or a base? One thing we know for sure, it doesn't have a very strong taste if it's an acid or a base. It's a bit closer to neutral, which it is. Which is why if I tested it now with my pH paper, we'll do that first. If I had another cup. Okay, so we'll test it first with my pH paper. And the pH paper comes out telling me that this milk is pretty much close to neutral. Pretty much. Maybe a tiny, tiny bit closer to 6 or 7. So a little bit of an acid. Okay? So now let's see if my purple cabbage test is going to agree in our last and final part of this experimentation. So, milk, purple cabbage indicator, let's put some inside, see what happens. Okay, definitely got cloudier. Did it turn blue? Did it turn green? Or just a little bit of a lighter shade of purple? Okay, doubling up there for a beautiful match, a little bit of a cloudier match to right between our baseline and the one that I created by blowing really hard. Okay, so guys, a round of applause there. You did a fabulous job. I'm going to take our camera and just zoom in here on all the different colors that we explored today. And I'm going to thank you guys so much for joining me because that was absolutely awesome and fun. And can't wait to see you guys next on Thursday. Okay, guys, and now one last thing, very important thing. All these amazing cups that are sitting here that have all these awesome colors in them, they also have awesome mixes in them that you don't want anybody in your family accidentally consuming, especially the ones that are not edible. So the next thing that's really important before you finish is to take 1 cup at a time. And when I say at a time, so that you don't end up mixing things that shouldn't be mixed. For example, those household cleaners, that's super dangerous to mix. So I'm going to take 1 cup at a time and just pour them down my sink. So you guys can join me wherever you are. I'm going to pour them down my milk sink because I know one of these cups have milk. And to end off our science experiments and make sure we stay super safe is taking 1 cup at a time and emptying them of their contents down the drain so that everyone who comes to see our amazing experiments can hear about all the wonders without consuming anything that would be unsafe or unhealthy, because wenn ich schmeiße mal enough to say some, we are responsible to take care of our bodies and the bodies of all the people who live together with us. So thank you guys once more for joining us. And if you're really kind to your mom, not only will you clean up your cups, but you'll clean up all the rest of the ingredients that you used today. See you guys Thursday.